The room was glittering with lights, chandeliers reflecting a million tiny stars. Every eye was on the stage, the tension thick enough to cut with a knife. The audience, elegantly dressed, leaned forward, eagerly awaiting the announcement of the Student of the Year. Hearts were pounding, breaths held in anticipation. The twin sisters stood side by side, yet the air between them was worlds apart. The white-faced twin, arrogance oozing from every pore, smiled condescendingly, eyes scanning the crowd as if she owned their attention. Her posture screamed entitlement. She was sure this moment was hers. On the other side, the black-faced twin, silent, unnoticed by many, carried a quiet strength in her eyes. There was no flamboyance, no boast, just a steady calm that could shatter walls if ignored for too long. The announcer's voice echoed, and the award goes to a dramatic pause. Gasps rippled. The crowd erupted in polite applause. But something was off. As the rude twins strutted the stage, the cheers faded into a hollow, uncomfortable silence. Whispers circled the room like a cold wind. Confused, she looked around, expecting admiration. But the faces staring back were tense, hesitant. It was then she realized. Achievement is hollow when hearts don't celebrate it. The applause she had imagined, the envy she had anticipated, all vanished into nothingness. The black-faced twin, standing in the shadows, smiled faintly, not out of malice, but because she knew something no award could give, the quiet power of respect, empathy, and true heart. And in that moment, the lesson was clear. Arrogance may win titles, but hearts never clap for it. The morning sunlight spilled to the tall windows of the prestigious Starlight Academy, painting the marble floors with warm gold. The air smelled faintly of polished wood and fresh flowers, a scent that always whispered a grandeur of achievement. Today was the day the Academy celebrated excellence, and everyone knew it. The annual Student of the Year award wasn't just a trophy. It was a symbol, a crown for someone who had walked the halls with ambition, charm, and undeniable talent. The white-faced twin, in her signature elegant dress, had spent weeks rehearsing her smiles, her bow, her acceptance speech. Her hair glistened like spun gold under the morning light. Every movement calculated, each glance perfect. To anyone watching, she radiated confidence. But behind that radiance was a shadow, a quiet arrogance that dismissed others as beneath her notice. She didn't see the struggling students, the late-night study sessions, or the people who whispered their secrets to books in empty classrooms. She only saw herself, the star of the show, and today she would prove it. The black-faced twin, on the other hand, blended into crowd, her simple attire, untamed hair, and soft gaze giving no hint of the storm she carried inside. People often overlooked her, brushed her aside, or dismissed her as ordinary. But she held something far more potent than any sparkling gown or rehearsed speech, a quiet strength that came from knowing herself, from living with empathy and honesty, even when the world judged her. The hall was packed. Parents, teachers, students, everyone was waiting. A hush fell as the ceremony began. Flowers lined the stage, golden lights flickered softly, and the music swelled. The twins walked in side by side, though it felt more like two worlds colliding than two sisters standing together. The announcer's voice boomed, commanding attention. Welcome, students, to the Starlight Academy Annual Excellence Awards. Today, we honor those who have shown not only talent but heart. The white-faced twin shot a glance at her sister, a smirk curling her lips. She leaned slightly closer, whispering under her breath, "Don't forget who the real winner will be today." The black-faced twin didn't respond. She had long stopped trying to compete in the superficial arenas of admiration. Her victories were quiet, unseen, but they were hers. The ceremony moved forward. Performances, speeches, moments of laughter and applause. All felt like a blur, a glittering stage she had walked countless times in her imagination. Every eye seemed to follow the white-faced twin, and her chest swelled with pride. This was her moment, her rightful triumph. Or so she thought. Finally, the moment arrived. The announcer held the envelope high, his voice dropping to a dramatic whisper. And the Student of the Year award goes to... A shiver ran through the audience. The name was called. Gasps echoed. The white-faced twin's smile widened as she stepped forward, heels clicking against the polished floor. She imagined the cheers, the standing ovation, the admiration that would flood the room, but instead, silence. A subtle, almost imperceptible pause hung in the air. The audience didn't cheer. They didn't clap. The polite smiles felt strained. Conversations hushed. The very recognition she had craved seemed to vanish, leaving a hollow echo in its place. Confusion flickered across her face, quickly replaced by indignation. "What is this?" she whispered, more to herself than anyone else. She looked around. Faces once expected to beam with envy or awe now reflected something else. Discomfort, disappointment, even disapproval. And then, through the shadows near the back of the hall, she saw her sister. The black-faced twin stood quietly, her eyes calm but piercing, holding a small, almost imperceptible smile. No applause, no fanfare, just awareness, a silent acknowledgement that true respect could never be bought with arrogance or entitlement. The white-faced twin's mind raced. She had done everything right by the world's standards. She had studied, prepared, polished every aspect of her public image. And yet, in the most crucial moment, the very thing she had expected, hearts cheering for her, was missing. This was the first crack in the illusion. She realized that applause, recognition, validation, these were not mere formalities. They were reflections of the heart. And hearts, she now understood, cannot be forced to clap for pride or cruelty. As she held the award in her hands, the weight felt suddenly different. It was no longer a crown of victory, but a reminder of something far greater she had ignored. The invisible power of character, kindness, and humility. The chapter closes as the music swells again, lights flickering, and the black-faced twin steps forward silently, unnoticed by most, yet the quiet ruler of the moment. Because in the shadows, where arrogance cannot tread, true hearts quietly cheer for those who matter, and silently mourn for those who do not understand respect. The award sat cold in the white-faced twin's hands, heavier than she had ever imagined. Every eye in the room seemed to weigh her, not with admiration, but with judgment. Polite smiles could not hide the discomfort that lingered like a thick fog. She had thought the applause would validate her, but now she realized it was never about the trophies or titles. It was about hearts. Walking off the stage, the echoes of the silent hall followed her like whispers of truth she could not escape. For the first time, she felt vulnerability, a strange and unfamiliar sensation twisting her chest. The black-faced twin, meanwhile, moved gracefully through the crowd, unnoticed, a calm aura surrounding her as if the world itself had bent slightly in respect to her quiet dignity. The evening continued. The banquet hall, once vibrant with chatter and laughter, felt strange to the white-faced twin. Conversation seemed muted, people casting sideways glances. Whispers floated around her, carrying stories of her arrogance and disregard. She tried to ignore it, tried to laugh it off, but the weight in her chest grew heavier with every step. Later, in the privacy of their shared room, the white-faced twin confronted her sister. The golden dress, now wrinkled from the evening's chaos, clung tightly as she glared. How? How could no one cheer? I did everything right. I worked hard. I practiced. I deserved it, she demanded, voice trembling between fury and disbelief. The black-faced twin looked up calmly, her dark eyes steady, unwavering. Did you? Or did you only care about what people appear to see? Hearts do not celebrate arrogance, no matter how polished it looks. The words hit harder than any criticism she had ever faced. She wanted to fight, to justify, to reclaim her imagined victory, but the silence that had followed her all evening spoke louder than any argument. Days passed, yet the incident lingered in her mind. Every social interaction, every classroom encounter reminded her of that hollow applause. She watched classmates, teachers, even strangers recognize others with warmth and authenticity. And slowly, reluctantly, she began to see a pattern. The black-faced twin, quiet, unassuming, kind in ways that went unnoticed in a race for attention, had a power that could never be staged. It was in the little things, helping a classmate study in secret, comforting a friend who had failed, encouraging the underdog when no one was watching. These acts, invisible to most, built bridges of respect that outshone every public display of arrogance. Weeks later, The Academy held a charity event, celebrating not grades or trophies, but actions. The white-faced twin, once eager to dominate the spotlight, found herself on the outskirts, watching quietly as her sister moved effortlessly through the room. Each handshake, each kind word, each small act of recognition drew the eyes of the community. Hearts followed her, silently applauding her authenticity. The white-faced twin's face, once radiant with smug confidence, fell into a shadow of understanding. For the first time, she realized that winning in the eyes of the world was nothing if hearts were untouched. Recognition without respect was empty. Applause without empathy was hollow. It was then that a remarkable truth dawned on her. The award she had held, the moment she had craved, was meaningless compared to the quiet, unseen victories of her sister. Arrogance might command attention temporarily, but kindness, humility, and empathy commanded loyalty, respect, and genuine admiration. Months later, life unfolded in subtle ways. The white-faced twin, still learning, began noticing her sister's influence. Students sought her out for advice. Teachers trusted her judgment, and people simply wanted to be near her. Not for show, not for vanity, but for the authentic warmth she radiated. The white-faced twin tried again, attempting to reclaim attention, but every effort felt shallow. She could mimic gestures, flash smiles, but the heart she wanted to win remained reserved for the quiet twin. The lesson was inescapable. Power without heart is fragile, and recognition without respect is fleeting. And in the end, the silence she had heard that day on the stage remained the loudest voice she ever encountered. It spoke of truths no trophy could express. Hearts notice authenticity, not performance. True victories are measured by respect earned, not attention demanded. Arrogance may shine brightly for a moment, but kindness endures like an unbreakable flame. The black-faced twin never gloated. She never pointed out her sister's mistakes. Yet, by living her life with quiet dignity, she demonstrated something far greater than any award could signify. She proved that the applause of the world is meaningless without the clap of true hearts. As the sisters walked together one evening, the white-faced twin fell silent. For the first time, she saw her sister not as a rival, but as a mirror of the values she had long ignored. There was humility in the black-faced twin's steps, grace in her words, and a silent strength that demanded recognition not through loud proclamations, but through unwavering integrity. The chapter closes with the sisters side by side, yet worlds apart in understanding, as the white-faced twin finally whispers, "I think I'm beginning to understand." And in that quiet realization, the story leaves its audience with a truth everyone knows but few embrace. Hearts never clap for arrogance, but they rise silently for authenticity. Life often teaches us in ways louder than trophies or applause. You can win awards, gain recognition, or shine in the eyes of the world. But if your actions are rooted in arrogance, cruelty, or selfishness, hearts remain untouched. True respect isn't earned through showy gestures or entitlement. It's built silently through kindness, humility, and empathy. The story of the twins reminds us that appearances can be deceiving. One may command attention with charm or status, but the other, who lives with quiet integrity and compassion, earns something far deeper: genuine admiration and lasting influence. The lesson is simple, yet profound. Titles can fade, applause can die, but respect and love from hearts endure forever. Strive not to be the loudest in the room, but the one whose presence uplifts, whose actions inspire, and whose character earns a quiet, priceless clap of true hearts. In a world full of competition and pride, remember, hearts never clap for arrogance. They rise silently for authenticity.